Thank you for joining us for NQ Live. My name's G Randall and I'm here with our top reporters and top stories to keep you in the know. A special message to all our listeners celebrating today, Eid Mubarak from all of us in the studio. Today's headlines are: Palestinians in Manchester are celebrating Eid under the cloud of rising violence in Palestine. 300 teenagers in Oldham are due to be stripped of their disability benefits due to governmental changes in recognising disabilities. Andy Burnham is pushing for over 16s to be offered the vaccine in a bid to slow the spread of the Indian COVID variant. And Didsbury has been tipped by Rightmove as being the most desirable location to live in Manchester. Muslim communities across Greater Manchester continue Eid celebrations today. Amid escalating violence in Palestine, Palestinians in Greater Manchester are determined to keep up the celebrations. Connie Ensler has more.
Hundreds of thousands of Muslims across Greater Manchester are celebrating the second day of Eid today, as the Ramadan fasting period comes to a close. The celebrations have coincided with rapidly escalating violence in Palestine, with Hamas launching rocket attacks on Israel and Israel carrying out airstrikes in the Palestinian territory of Gaza. Since last week, 83 people have been killed in Gaza and 7 in Israel. Protests were held in Manchester earlier this week in solidarity with Palestinian families in the East Jerusalem neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah, who have been evicted from their homes following an Israeli court order. I spoke to Bisan Arafat, a Palestinian studies researcher, who told me why it's important for Palestinians in the diaspora to celebrate Eid despite the mounting violence.
What surprises me and what makes me really proud as a Palestinian, that I have lots of Palestinian friends in Gaza, basically. And although their houses were destroyed last night, they were tweeting and posting that they will buy Eid clothes for their kids all over again. So by doing this, by celebrating, we show sympathy. We show that your voices are heard. Although we understand what's happening in Palestine is devastating, is so sad, but there's something everyone should know about the Palestinians. We Palestinians are resilient. We will never stop celebrating Eids or celebrations because that's what they want, the other side wants.
A 13-year-old girl was sexually assaulted yesterday on her way to school in Salford's Peel Park. The attack took place around 8 p.m. and the offender also stole the girl's phone. GMP have issued a statement to say that extra officers will be patrolling Peel Park on foot this week, where the sexual assault took place. The girl has come off physically unscathed, but is still being supported by specially trained officers in the Manchester region. Oldham Council are also fighting the disability cuts facing disabled teenagers in the borough. Neve O'Connell has the story.
More than 300 teenagers in Oldham were stripped of their disability benefits after their 16th birthday, it has recently been revealed. A disabled people's organisation in Oldham, Oldham Forward Together, has said that lives of young disabled people have been ruined because of the abusive Venetics procedure. More than a third of young people who claim disability living allowance in Oldham during childhood have failed to qualify for the adult version of the benefit, according to data from the Department of Work and Pensions. To appeal the DUP decisions, residents are able to file a welfare rights form on the Oldham Council website.
Mayor Andy Burnham wants everyone over 16 in Greater Manchester to get vaccinated to stop the spread of the Indian variant. This comes after cases in Bolton among people under 25 have doubled this week alone. I'm here with Vic Taylor to talk about the plans. So Vic, what is happening in Bolton?
So Bolton has right now the second highest case numbers in the UK. The last numbers I got are from yesterday evening. That's 152 in 100,000 citizens. And it has become a bit of a hotspot for the Indian variant that is believed to have come in through people returning from travels there or being in touch with people who did. And as we heard from Connie earlier on, the Muslim celebration of Eid is underway. So there is fears that people are getting together for that. And further spreading is especially under young people. And Andy Burnham didn't quite rule out another local lockdown, but he does prefer a vaccine for over 16s as the most efficient effort because, of course, now that everything is opening up, or the whole hospitality sector is afraid what another lockdown might do to them.
But the biggest fear is, will vaccines even work against this new kind of mutant Indian variant?
We don't know very much about that yet. Part of the problem is there's only about 700 cases known of the Indian variant in the world. And just to compare the UK variant, that's really widespread right now, we have about 380,000 cases. So there is, of course, a lot more data. There is a virologist in the US, Dr. Camille. He said it's similar to the South African variant, which could mean that it helps the virus evade antibodies that are produced in the body after either a recovery from a virus or a vaccine. And there are also reports from India that said that a few doctors died despite the vaccine, and in a care home, the virus got around a vaccine, but no serious cases were reported. So it's a bit difficult to tell. We don't have enough data, but most experts agree that vaccines will, if nothing else, they will slow it down, and that there's not enough reason to panic yet.
Of course, and we can't go over anomalies, can we? Do you think it's likely that this promise from Burnham will succeed in getting vaccines for over 16s?
It doesn't really look like it at the moment. The Bolton GP Federation said on Twitter that there would be no change to the criteria of who's getting vaccinated so far. In Downing Street, Mark Logan, the MP for Bolton North East, raised the same topic, trying to support Burnham, and also suggested that more vaccine doses should be sent over. And Boris Johnson said he's considering mass vaccination as a potential way of tackling the spread, but it's not on top of the list, as he said, so it's a bit vague there, and we don't really know what is on top of the list. But there's also the issue of that only BioNTech and Pfizer vaccine is approved for over 16s. The other two ones that are used in the UK, the Oxford AstraZeneca one and the Moderna one, they're only approved for over 18s. So we would have to get a lot more doses of BioNTech Pfizer. And I suppose we just have to wait and see what happens. But something needs to happen now, looking at the pace it's spreading at the moment.
Of course. And if the PM hasn't ruled it out, then I'm sure Burnham won't have either. Thank you very much for joining me, Vic. So we're less than 4 days away from the UK's largest ease of COVID restrictions. Harry Hansen has the story.
After months of going without, on Monday people across the country will be able to go back to cinemas, restaurants, museums and small indoor events as the country enters its next phase of lifting COVID restrictions. COVID rates remain at their lowest level since last September, and the Prime Minister has confirmed that the country is now ready to move into Phase 3 of easing the lockdown. As well as the reopening of many parts of the economy, Phase 3 will also allow hugging and will give people the chance to decide on the level of contact they have with their close family and friends. Up to 6 people will be able to meet indoors, and outdoors the rule of 6 will be scrapped, meaning groups of up to 30 people can meet. As well as this, the Transport Minister has announced that some international travel will be able to start up again from Monday, with people being allowed to travel to countries that are on the green list. More than 35 million people have now been vaccinated across the UK, and the vaccine rollout remains strong. However, Boris Johnson has said today that he is concerned about the spread of the new Indian variant, and that he won't rule anything out. Phase 4 of easing restrictions is set to take place no earlier than June 21st, which could see the complete end to all formal COVID restrictions.
Some great news for Didsbury homeowners, as Rightmove has named Didsbury as the most popular spot in the UK for home buyers, with Greater Manchester suburbs taking 5 of the top 10 spots. Didsbury, Chorlton, Prestwich, Bramall and Heaton Moor were all part of the top 10 in the most popular places for house hunters. Despite Didsbury being among one of the most expensive areas in the country to buy property, with house prices over 35% higher than the Greater Manchester average, houses are selling fast and in some cases within only a few days of going onto the market. And now on to sports. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp congratulated Pep Guardiola on Manchester City's title win. For Man United, the team is back in action for the 4th time in 8 days against rivals Liverpool tonight. Old Trafford has been kitted out with barricades, and barriers are now in place around the entire stadium to guard against the expected protests over the Glazer family's ownership of the club. Security has been multiplied compared to previous games, with police forces around the country coming to defuse any violence, plus canine units and horses. In June, Rugby League's event of the year has been dampened by COVID restrictions. The capacity at Leigh Sports Village is extremely limited, with only 600 supporters from each of the 4 clubs able to watch the Challenge Cup semi-finals. In terms of weather, showers have already begun in places today, but it's turning locally heavily for some boroughs. Heavy cloud coverage means there'll be a few sunny spells today, but things should become drier tonight. The weather isn't set to improve over the weekend, sadly, with frequent rain clearing up through the evening at least. The poor weather continues into Monday, with thunder expected. Thank you all for listening. That's all from me. Keep up with the latest updates on the Northern Quota Twitter account. And join us next week for another NQ News Roundup. Have a great day.